Welcome to Antique Coins Information, your ultimate destination for discovering the hidden treasures of U.S. coin history. In today's video, we're counting down the top 5 most valuable and rare USA wheat pennies, coins so rare and precious, some are worth millions of dollars. Whether you're a collector, investor, or history enthusiast, you won't want to miss this fascinating journey into America's numismatic gems. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and collectible coins in United States history, the 1925 Lincoln 1 cent, also known as the wheat penny, with no mint mark. This humble penny, often overlooked in everyday change, hides a story of history, artistry, and astonishing value that continues to captivate collectors and investors alike. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or a curious beginner, this coin offers a window into the past, along with the thrilling potential of modern-day treasure hunting. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it marked a significant departure from the previous Indian head cent, bringing a dignified and recognizable portrait to the small copper coin. The obverse features a striking profile of Lincoln, capturing his thoughtful and determined expression, while the reverse boasts the classic wheat ears design, symbolizing prosperity and the agrarian roots of America. By 1925, the Lincoln wheat penny had firmly established itself as a beloved and widely circulated coin, yet not every coin from this era is created equal. The 1925 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which was the only major mint that did not use a letter identifier at that time. This detail, while seemingly minor, plays a crucial role in determining the coin's rarity and, ultimately, its value. Over 900 million pennies were minted in 1925, making it a relatively common year at first glance. However, the true value of these coins depends heavily on their condition, grade, and any unique characteristics that set individual pieces apart from the mass-produced originals. Coins that have remained well-preserved over nearly a century can fetch impressive sums, particularly among collectors who prize the finest examples. Understanding the grading of a 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is essential for anyone interested in its value. Coins are evaluated on a scale that ranges from poor to mint state, with several levels in between. Most circulated 1925 pennies fall into the good, very good, or fine categories, where wear is visible on the high points of Lincoln's profile and the wheat ears on the reverse. Coins in extremely fine or about uncirculated condition show minimal wear, sharp details, and an appealing luster, while the rare mint state examples, untouched by circulation, often present a near-perfect appearance. The difference in value between a good-grade penny and a mint state penny can be staggering, making grading a crucial step in appraising any coin. Collectors and enthusiasts also pay close attention to striking variations and errors, which can significantly increase a coin's value. For example, a 1925 Lincoln wheat penny may exhibit doubling on the date, a slightly off-center strike, or subtle die cracks. Such anomalies make the coin unique, transforming an ordinary piece into a sought-after collectible that can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars more than its standard counterpart. These variations are relatively rare but are a major point of excitement in the numismatic community, as finding one is like uncovering a secret treasure from the past. The history surrounding the 1925 Lincoln penny adds another layer of intrigue. The mid-1920s were a period of recovery and growth for the United States, following the challenges of World War I and the economic turbulence of the early 1920s. Coins from this era, including the 1925 penny, circulated in everyday commerce, passing through countless hands, from shopkeepers and farmers to students and city dwellers. Each penny potentially carries traces of its journey, from minor scratches to faint discolorations, which tell silent stories of everyday life nearly a century ago. For collectors, this historical context enriches the coin's allure, turning it into more than just metal. It's a tangible piece of American history. For those curious about the market for these pennies, the 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny remains highly desirable among collectors. Online auctions, coin shows, and private sales regularly feature this coin, and its value can fluctuate based on supply, demand, and the coin's condition. Even among circulated coins, well-preserved examples can stand out dramatically. It's not uncommon to find coins with exceptional luster, sharp details, and minimal surface wear, and these pieces often attract significant attention from both collectors and investors looking to diversify their portfolios with tangible assets. Investing in rare coins like the 1925 Lincoln Wheat penny is not just about the immediate monetary gain. Many collectors enjoy the thrill of the hunt, searching through rolls of pennies, visiting estate sales, or exploring coin shops to find that one piece that stands out. There is a deeply satisfying connection to history when holding a coin that has survived for nearly 100 years, especially one that has retained its original beauty. For numismatists, this sense of discovery is priceless, making every hunt an adventure and every find a story to share. When evaluating a 1925 Lincoln penny, professional coin grading services can provide an authoritative assessment. These services examine a coin under magnification, evaluate its strike, surface condition, and luster, and assign a grade that is recognized internationally. Coins that receive high grades from respected organizations often achieve the highest auction prices, and grading certification adds a level of security and trust for both buyers and sellers. For serious collectors or investors, having a coin professionally graded can be a critical step in maximizing its value and marketability. While many coins from this era are common in everyday circulation, the truly extraordinary examples can be stunning. A 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny in pristine condition, with a brilliant surface and no signs of wear, can captivate collectors instantly. Even subtle details, like the sharpness of Lincoln's cheek or the definition of the wheat ears, can distinguish a valuable coin from an ordinary one. For enthusiasts, examining these coins under magnification reveals the artistry and skill of early 20th century minting, a level of craftsmanship that modern coins rarely replicate. For those interested in selling or acquiring a 1925 Lincoln Wheat penny, there are several strategies to consider. Coins can be bought and sold through reputable coin dealers, online auction platforms, or coin shows. It is essential to conduct careful research, compare prices, and verify the authenticity and grading of each coin. Patience is key. Sometimes the perfect coin comes along unexpectedly, and its value may far exceed initial estimates. Many collectors emphasize the importance of forming relationships within the numismatic community, as knowledgeable dealers and fellow enthusiasts can provide invaluable guidance and insights into market trends and rare finds. Finally, it's worth noting that while many 1925 pennies are accessible for everyday collectors, there exists a rare subset that commands extraordinary sums. These coins, often in exceptional condition or exhibiting rare variations, are prized for their scarcity and historical significance. Their value reflects not only the condition of the coin but also the enduring fascination with Lincoln, the artistry of the design, and the rich history they represent. Among collectors, the thrill of adding a rare 1925 Lincoln Wheat penny to a collection is unmatched, making it a crown jewel for any numismatic enthusiast. In summary, the 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny is far more than just an ordinary piece of copper. It is a piece of history, a work of art, and a potential treasure waiting to be discovered. From its iconic Lincoln design and the symbolism of the wheat ears to the unique characteristics that can make individual coins highly collectible, every aspect of this coin tells a story. Whether you are drawn by its historical significance, the challenge of coin collecting, or the potential financial reward, this penny offers a fascinating journey into America's past. And for those lucky enough to find a truly exceptional specimen, the value can be staggering. For a pristine, top-quality 1925 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark, the worth in today's market is an astonishing $83,466. In the world of American coin collecting, few coins have generated as much curiosity, excitement, and mystery as the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary copper penny, something you might overlook in your pocket change without a second thought. But behind its simple appearance lies a dramatic story that stretches across World War II, minting errors, metal shortages, rare varieties, and huge values that modern collectors are willing to pay. Today, we're diving deep into why this single penny has become one of the most talked about coins in the entire Lincoln series, and why some examples from this year have sold for incredible amounts of money. In 1944, the United States was fully immersed in the final years of the Second World War. Metals were being redirected to military production, factories across the country were repurposed for wartime needs, and the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure to keep up with the demand for currency. Just 1 year earlier, in 1943, all pennies had been struck on steel coated with zinc, replacing the usual copper. This change was made so that copper could be used for ammunition casings, communication devices, and other military equipment. Steel pennies, as many collectors know, became famous for their silver-gray color and their susceptibility to rust. However, in 1944, the Mint returned to using copper for pennies. But instead of new copper, they used leftover brass from recycled and unused military shell casings. This gave the 1944 pennies a slightly different tone and metal composition compared to earlier years. Every 1944 penny struck in Philadelphia came without a mint mark, simply showing the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse. These changes and circumstances set the stage for one of the most interesting coins of the decade. The 1944 no-mint mark penny is not considered one of the rarest dates in the series, because the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 1 billion of them. But what makes the coin so intriguing is the variety of errors, striking conditions, preserved examples, and collector demand surrounding it. Ordinary circulated examples can still be worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on their condition, but coins that have been preserved in pristine mint state condition can reach surprisingly high values, and certain error types can skyrocket into the thousands. To understand why some 1944 pennies are so sought after, you have to consider how they were handled during production. With the enormous pressure to produce coins quickly for wartime circulation, mistakes were bound to happen. Misaligned dies, double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, repunched mint marks on other variations, and leftover 1943 steel planchets accidentally used in 1944 are among the known collectible varieties. These unexpected errors are exactly what collectors crave, because they transform an otherwise common coin into a unique piece of history. One of the most famous errors associated with the 1944 penny is the accidental striking of some coins on leftover steel planchets. These are incredibly rare and valuable. Imagine a single steel blank from 1943 stuck somewhere in the machinery, only to be used the following year when the Mint resumed copper production. That one stray piece of metal created an error coin that collectors would one day pay tens of thousands of dollars to acquire. Although this video focuses on the copper no mint mark penny, it's important to understand that the 1944 series as a whole sits at the crossroads of transition, making it rich with stories that collectors never forget. Now, let's talk about what collectors look for when they examine a 1944 penny. Condition is everything. A penny that has circulated for decades shows wear on Lincoln's cheek, beard, and coat lines. The wheat ears on the reverse become smooth, the lettering weakens, and small scratches appear across the surface. These circulated coins are the most common and hold modest value. However, the story changes dramatically when the coin is found in brilliant uncirculated condition. Grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate these coins under magnification, checking for surface quality, original luster, sharpness of strike, and absence of contact marks. Coins that receive grades such as MS65, MS66, or higher enter a whole new world of collector interest and competition. The higher the grade, the more intense the bidding becomes, especially if the coin displays bright, original red or red-brown coloration. The 1944 penny is available in all three color designations: RD, red, RB, red-brown, and BN, brown. The brightest red examples are the rarest and most valuable because they indicate the coin has been preserved almost exactly as it left the mint over 80 years ago. Another factor is historical significance. The 1944 coin represents resilience, transition, and a country working together during wartime. Collectors love coins with stories, and this one carries the legacy of reused war materials melted down and transformed into everyday currency. Imagine the journey of a 1944 penny, from a military shell casing intended for combat, melted and repurposed into a coin, then used in everyday transactions by ordinary American families living during the final years of World War II. That alone gives this penny a deeper meaning and emotional weight. Collectors often wonder why some 1944 pennies sell for so much more than others. It comes down to rarity within grade. Even though the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 1 billion of them, only a fraction survived in higher grade mint state condition. Most were spent, scratched, dented, and worn down through decades of everyday use. But a few were set aside intentionally, preserved in rolls, coin albums, or private collections. Over time, these untouched coins became the prize examples we see today, selling for thousands of dollars at auction. When a 1944 wheat penny appears at a major auction house, collectors pay attention. They examine photographs closely, study the coin's color, check for tiny marks, and compare it with other known examples. Competition can be fierce. Even a single point difference in grade can mean hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars difference in price. And when a truly exceptional example surfaces, with blazing original color and almost no imperfections, the bidding can escalate with shocking speed. This brings us to another important point: demand. The Lincoln Wheat series is one of the most widely collected coin series in America. New collectors start with wheat pennies. Experienced collectors try to build complete high-grade sets. Era collectors chase the rare steel planchet variety. Historians love the wartime connection. With so many different types of collectors all interested in the same coin, values naturally rise. This is especially true for coins that stand out from the rest of the pack. Even though millions of people have handled the 1944 penny without realizing its importance, the world of coin collecting sees it through an entirely different lens, one of historical value, rarity, condition, and investment potential. Pennies like this remind us that treasures are often hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to recognize them. And now we arrive at the part everyone waits for: the highest recorded auction prices for a 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny found in exceptional condition. After decades of circulation, countless collections, grading submissions, and intense bidding, one remarkable example stunned the collecting community when it sold for an extraordinary amount. This single penny, preserved with nearly perfect details, sharp features, and brilliant luster, reached a value that most people would never expect from a coin worth 1 cent at face value. That final auction record reached an astonishing $74,252. The world of American coin collecting is full of surprises, but few coins hold a place in history quite like the 1946 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary copper cent you might have seen thousands of times, but the truth is far more exciting. Coins minted shortly after World War II carry unique stories, and the 1946 penny is no exception. Today, we are going to explore its background, its hidden features, the secrets that determine its value, and why collectors hunt for specific examples of this unassuming coin. This is the kind of knowledge that can help you uncover rare treasures in your own pocket, your family coin jars, or a forgotten drawer in your home. The 1946 penny was produced during a very interesting time in U.S. history. America had just come out of World War II the year before, and the country was still shifting from wartime manufacturing back to regular civilian life. During the war, copper was desperately needed for ammunition, military machinery, and countless essential supplies. That is why from 1943 to 1945, the composition of the penny changed dramatically. In 1943, the mint used zinc-coated steel to conserve copper, creating the famous steel penny. In 1944 and 1945, the mint began using recycled ammunition shell brass to produce cents. By 1946, the U.S. Mint finally returned to making pennies out of regular copper, but the leftover materials, equipment wear, and transitional errors led to some unusual variations. The 1946 penny was minted in large numbers at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it has no mint mark. Philadelphia struck over 950 million pennies that year, so the coin is common in circulated condition. However, rare features, die varieties, and extremely high-grade conditions can make a single penny worth far more than you would imagine. For collectors, small differences in condition, shine, luster, or die characteristics can push the value from a few cents to hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. That is what makes this coin so fascinating. Let's begin with the design. Like most sweet pennies, the obverse features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. His initials, VDB, can be seen slightly above the rim on the bust but are much smaller than the famous 1909 version. On the reverse, you see the classic wheat ears on both sides, symbolizing prosperity and abundance, with 1 cent boldly written in the center. Above that, the words United States of America appear, and above that, you'll find the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This design was used from 1909 until 1958, and it remains one of the most iconic and beloved American coin designs of all time. Although this coin seems simple, collectors always look deeper. The first thing that changes value dramatically is condition. A 1946 penny that has been in circulation for many years, passed from hand to hand, dropped in coin jars, or tossed into pockets will show wear. The details of Lincoln's hair may be smooth, the wheat stalk lines may fade, and the surfaces might have scratches or nicks. These circulated coins are worth very little, often just a few cents, or maybe up to $1. But the real value shows up when a penny is either extremely well preserved or has a unique minting error. High-grade examples that were saved early, never used, or kept in protective holders have sharp lines, full luster, and beautiful surfaces. Collectors call these uncirculated coins mint state, and they can range from MS-60 to MS-70. The challenge with the 1946 penny is that so many were produced, and they appear frequently, but almost all of them have flaws. Finding one that is virtually perfect is incredibly difficult. That is why coin grading matters so much. A coin with full red color, meaning the bright copper shine has not darkened or turned brown, is especially desirable. The higher the red color, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 1946 penny in mint state red can be worth hundreds or even thousands depending on its grade. But condition is not the only thing collectors look for. Some of the most valuable 1946 pennies come from mint errors and die varieties. Error coins happen when something goes wrong during production. For example, there are 1946 pennies with doubled dies, where the letters or numbers appear doubled under magnification. There are also off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, repunched mint marks for Denver issues, and other unusual features that make a coin unique. Since Philadelphia did not use a mint mark, repunched mint mark varieties do not apply here, but doubled dies and die deterioration strikes do. These mistakes were not uncommon in the post-war period because the U.S. Mint was pushing out massive quantities of coins as the country recovered economically. Collectors especially love doubled die obverse that show strong doubling on Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date. Even minor doubling can significantly raise the value. Other interesting errors include coins struck with improperly prepared dies, giving them a hazy or grainy appearance. Wartime equipment wear also led to some unusual die cracks, often seen as raised lines across the coin. Some people mistake these for scratches, but they are actually metal that was pushed into cracks on the die itself. Because each die crack is unique, these coins become like fingerprints of the minting process, making them exciting finds. Another key factor that increases the value is rarity within grade. Imagine that millions of coins were made in 1946, but almost all of them have small imperfections. Now imagine finding one that somehow avoided all the flaws, stayed bright red, escaped scratches, and kept its surfaces pristine for decades. That is the type of coin grading services love to certify at high ranks like MS-66, MS-67, or higher. Very few 1946 pennies survive in such conditions, making them extremely valuable to collectors. If you have a 1946 no mint mark penny, the first thing to check is its color. Is it brown, red-brown, or bright red? Next, look at the surfaces under strong light. Are there scratches, dull areas, or haze? Then study the strike details. Look carefully at Lincoln's hair, beard, cheek, jawline, and coat. The sharper and clearer the details, the better the strike. Turn the coin over and examine the wheat stalks. If the parallel lines inside the wheat ears are fully visible and strong, your coin has an excellent strike. You may also want to check for any doubling or unusual features. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Check the letters and numbers carefully. Even small doubling can increase value. If you see a die crack running through the words or wheat stalks, that could also be an interesting variety. Collectors also look at luster. When you tilt the coin under light, does it have a smooth, cartwheel-like shine? That is a sign of excellent preservation. Dull or flat surfaces indicate wear or cleaning, both of which hurt value. Be careful never to clean a coin, because cleaning leaves scratches that will instantly reduce its worth. With all these factors combined, the 1946 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny becomes an exciting piece for collectors. It tells the story of post-war America, it represents the return to copper coinage, and it holds potential for high value depending on condition and eras. Many people today search through old jars, drawers, and inherited coin collections hoping to find that one perfect 1946 penny that stands out among millions. And now, the part you've been waiting for. The highest recorded auction price for a stunning, high-grade example of the 1946 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny reached an incredible $56,983. In the vast world of American coin collecting, there are certain coins that appear so ordinary at first glance that most people never stop to take a second look. The 1951 D-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny is one of those coins. It hides quietly in old jars, dusty drawers, inherited collections, and forgotten boxes across the country. Yet behind its small copper frame lies an incredible story of history, rarity, and value that most collectors and everyday people don't know. Today, we're diving deep into everything that makes the 1951 D wheat penny a coin worth learning about, studying, and even hunting for in your pocket change, because in the right condition, this small copper cent has shocked collectors around the world. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, minted from 1909 to 1958, is one of America's most collected and beloved coin designs. The wheat ears on the reverse symbolize prosperity, productivity, and the American spirit of progress during the early 20th century. For decades, the wheat penny circulated in the hands of workers, soldiers, farmers, store owners, and schoolchildren, becoming a timeless piece of American heritage. By the time 1951 arrived, the United States was recovering from World War II and entering the Korean War, which meant every resource, including copper, was valuable. Millions of coins were struck to support the growing economy, and among them was the 1951 penny produced at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint, marked by the letter D just beneath the date, produced an enormous number of pennies that year. Over 625 million pieces were struck, making the 1951 D one of the higher mintage coins in the wheat penny series. This high production often leads people to believe these coins are always common and worthless. But the truth is that while most 1951 D pennies are indeed ordinary, a small percentage of them are anything but. The real value comes from condition, errors, and quality of preservation. And it is these details that turn an everyday penny into a rare treasure worth hunting for. Collectors today pay close attention to the condition of coins. Every small detail matters. Weak strikes, scratches, dents, discoloration, and wear can drop the value dramatically. But a flawless coin, one that has survived decades without damage, can command impressive prices. The 1951 D penny is particularly known among collectors for the challenge of finding one with a sharp, bold strike. Denver minted coins from the early 1950s sometimes suffered from softer striking pressure or worn dies, and this affects how clear Lincoln's hair, beard, and lettering appear. A truly well-struck 1951 D penny shows crisp wheat lines on the reverse and strong details on Lincoln's portrait. The field should appear smooth with minimal marks, and the luster should shine like the day it was minted. Finding such a coin in the wild is extremely rare. Most of the ones left in circulation today have heavy wear because they were used for years before being retired. This is why grading plays such a major role in determining a coin's value. professional grading companies such as PCGS and NGC evaluate coins and assign them a numerical grade between 1 and 70. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 1951 penny in worn condition may only be worth a few cents or a couple of dollars. But when you move into the uncirculated range, especially MS65, MS66, or even MS67, the value can rise dramatically. The highest known examples are incredibly rare and often appear in only the most advanced collections. What makes this coin even more exciting is the possibility of valuable mint errors. Error coins have become one of the fastest growing areas in modern coin collecting. The 1951 penny, like many coins of the wheat era, has a number of interesting and collectible errors. Some examples include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, and repunched mint marks. A repunched mint mark, often called an RPM, occurs when the mint mark was punched onto the die more than once, leading to a doubled or shadow-like effect. Collectors love these unusual varieties because they are unique and rare, and their values often far exceed normal examples. Another factor that makes people hunt for the 1951 wheat penny is nostalgia. Many collectors remember finding wheat pennies in circulation during their childhood. Even today, wheat pennies still pop up occasionally when checking change at the grocery store, searching through a coin roll, or sorting through inherited collections. Discovering a 1951 penny sparks curiosity. Could it be a rare one? Could it be uncirculated? Could it be an error? These questions keep collectors searching, even after decades. To truly understand the appeal of the 1951 penny, you have to appreciate the history it carries. This coin traveled through the American economy at a time when bread cost 15 cents, gasoline was 27 cents a gallon, and a brand new car could be purchased for $1,500. It may have passed through the hands of soldiers returning from the Korean War, families building new lives in the suburbs, or students buying school lunches during the 1950s. Every scratch, every mark, and every shine of luster tells part of its journey. Imagine someone in 1951 pulling this bright new penny from their pocket without realizing that 74 years later, it would become highly sought after by collectors around the world. The copper in this coin has survived political changes, economic shifts, wars, cultural revolutions, and the advancements of modern technology. It is more than money, it is a piece of living American history. For collectors today, the thrill of finding a high-grade example is unmatched. Coin roll hunters often search through thousands of pennies from banks hoping to catch a glimpse of that beautiful wheat reverse. Metal detectorists scan old parks, abandoned homesteads, and forgotten fields, hoping that a lost coin from the past will finally be uncovered. Estate sale hunters dig through old jars, boxes, and envelopes because they know treasures are sometimes hidden in the most unexpected places. The 1951 wheat penny continues to gain attention because its top-grade examples rarely appear at auction. When they do, collectors compete fiercely to obtain them. High submission fees, strict grading standards, and the rarity of preserved coins all combine to boost the desirability of the few that survive in near-perfect condition. The passion for collecting wheat pennies is stronger today than ever before, and each year, more people enter the hobby searching for coins exactly like this one. Whether you're a new collector just learning about wheat pennies or an experienced numismatist searching for that last gem to complete your set, the 1951 penny is a coin worth paying attention to. Its story, its history, its errors, its rarity in top grades, and its connection to America's past make it an unforgettable piece that continues to fascinate collectors. Always check the mint mark, always inspect the details, and always look carefully when sorting through old pennies. You never know when you might be holding something extraordinary. And for the truly rare example, the one preserved in stunning condition with glowing luster, sharp strike, and almost no imperfections. One of these remarkable 1951 wheat pennies has reached an astonishing value of $39,466. In the world of American coin collecting, there are certain coins that look ordinary at first glance but hold a fascinating story beneath their copper surface. One of these coins, hidden in countless jars, drawers, pocket change piles, and forgotten boxes in people's homes, is the 1956 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. While millions of these pennies were produced, the truth is that collectors today are discovering rare varieties, sharp condition examples, and surprising errors that can elevate the value of this simple cent far beyond its tiny size. When someone comes across a 1956 penny, they rarely imagine that it could be worth far more than 1 cent, but in today's video, we will dive deep into what makes this particular coin stand out, why collectors search obsessively for it, and how you can identify whether the one sitting in your hand is worth a substantial amount. The 1956 wheat penny belongs to the final years of the beloved wheat cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. These pennies are iconic because of their classic reverse design, the 2 wheat stalks representing prosperity and hard work in the American spirit. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, whose portrait has appeared on the penny for well over a century. But even though this design has been familiar to Americans for generations, the wheat cent holds a special nostalgia. It represents a time when copper had greater value, life was simpler, and coins were crafted with a level of detail that modern pieces often lack. Now, what makes the 1956 no-mint mark penny particularly interesting is that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark at the time. Millions were struck for everyday use, circulating through shops, schools, gas stations, and factories during America's booming post-war years. Because it was such a commonly used coin, most examples we see today are worn out from decades of circulation, scratches, dull surfaces, discoloration, and faded details. And that's exactly why high-grade examples are so valuable. A coin that survived nearly 70 years with sharp details, original luster, and minimal wear becomes a rare treasure. Collectors often seek out the strongest strike possible, meaning a coin that shows Lincoln's hair strands clearly, the bow tie sharply edged, and the lettering crisp and full. On the reverse side, the wheat ears should have visible grains with no flattening, and the fields, those smooth areas around the design, should be clean and reflective. These qualities make a huge difference in determining whether a 1956 penny is worth only a few cents or hundreds of dollars. But condition isn't the only thing that drives value. Errors and varieties often create an entirely different category of collectible interest. The 1956 penny is known for having a few notable errors that can significantly raise its worth. Among the most desirable are die cracks, die breaks, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks. Even though this coin has no mint mark, some collectors look for minor punching flaws around the date area, and doubled dies. When a die used to strike the coin is improperly made, it can create doubling on the coin's surface, especially noticeable on letters like Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date itself. These mistakes weren't intentional, but that's what makes them fascinating. They are small manufacturing accidents that survived mint inspection and slipped into circulation. Imagine someone in 1956 receiving a penny like this without realizing they were holding something that would one day be valuable to collectors. They spent it on a newspaper, a piece of chewing gum, or maybe dropped it in a coin jar at home. Decades later, people all over the world sift through these old coins hoping to find something extraordinary. The charm of the hobby lies in that unexpected discovery, finding a rare variety or error that the original spender never even noticed. Another important factor is the coin's original copper content. The 1956 penny is made of 95% copper, and that alone already gives it more intrinsic value compared to modern pennies, which are mostly zinc. The warm, rich tone of a wheat penny is distinct, and many collectors prefer the deep brown and red colors that appear when the copper ages gracefully. A 1956 penny with the beautiful original red shine, known as red or RD in collecting terms, is worth far more than a brown or heavily worn piece. To understand why collectors pay such high prices for certain grades, we need to talk about the professional grading system. Organizations like PCGS and NGC inspect coins under magnification and assign them a grade from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the better the condition. For the 1956 no-mint mark penny, anything graded MS 60 or higher is already considered mint state. But the incredible prices emerge at MS 66, MS 67, and beyond. At these top levels, the coin appears almost untouched, as if it was minted yesterday. Coins in these grades usually came from original rolls saved by collectors decades ago, safely stored away before they were ever used. Finding such a pristine example in your pocket change today is extremely rare, but not impossible. Many people have inherited old coin collections without realizing what's inside. Sometimes rolls of untouched pennies sit in attics, old cupboards, or storage boxes for generations. A single uncirculated 1956 penny from one of these rolls can turn out to be a high-grade gem. The story doesn't stop there. Market demand also plays a major role. Coin collectors today are more passionate than ever. Online auctions, coin shows, and collector forums constantly bring attention to rare pieces. When a high-grade 1956 penny appears at auction, bidders often compete heavily, driving the value up far beyond what most people would expect. The excitement of owning a nearly flawless coin from a bygone era pushes these prices into impressive territory. Collectors are also fascinated by the historical backdrop of the 1956 penny. It was minted during a dynamic period in American history: post-war economic expansion, the rise of new technology, the birth of highways, the golden age of American automobiles, and the cultural transformation leading into the 1960s. Coins from this era carry a sense of American pride, representing a time when everyday objects were built to last and were crafted with detail and intention. As you examine your own 1956 penny, pay attention to the small details. Look closely at Lincoln's jawline, cheekbone, hair curls, and the clarity of the lettering. Turn the coin under light to check for luster, the original shine that moves across the surface like a wave. Inspect the wheat stalks and see if the lines remain clear. Even a slightly better than average coin can bring more value than you'd expect. And if you spot an unusual mark, doubling, or imperfect strike, it could be a sign of an error variety worth examining more carefully. People around the world are discovering that coins they thought were worthless pocket change are actually miniature time capsules filled with potential. The 1956 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny is one of those special coins with a quiet history and a surprising market demand. Whether you're a new collector, someone sorting through old coins, or simply curious about what your penny might be worth, understanding these subtle details will help you appreciate the hidden treasure you may already own. And now, the part everyone waits for: the highest recorded value of an exceptional example of this coin. One unbelievable, top-rated coin from this year sold for an astonishing amount. The price realized at auction was $66,488.